Hello everyone. Welcome back finally to our free video tutorials for our group monthly challenges. We're doing today our bicycle with the flowers. Um, of course, before we start, we're gonna have to study this first. I will try to kind of create a map of our steps, what we're gonna do. And first thing first, we're gonna do a sketch because I don't want to mess directly as usual when it comes to complex pictures like this one. I would prefer to make a sketch first on some paper like this, A3 size, standard printer paper. I will draw. I can use my eraser, anything, and when I'm happy, I will transfer the output onto watercolor paper. So it will be much more cleaner and everything. Also, as always, it could allow me to play maybe with some details, but we will see how it goes. Before I start to do any drawing, I would like to kind of wrap my head about everything I see in the picture, because I have a couple of thoughts about the way I would like to have it done. First, I would like to change the maybe the color scheme. I want to create some sort of feeling that we have a sunny, maybe, like evening time when the sun is very warm outside, so we can like create a like this light flow in here, and that area, which basically this will be warm, and that area will be colder, and that creates an extra contrast. But this is the my idea at the moment, and we will see how it goes at the end, but it should be okay. But at the moment, I'm worried about transferring this picture on this. Obviously, it has to be slightly bigger. I would like to make it bigger. And to do that, I need to establish some sort of scheme how I gonna do it. If I don't want to make exact measurements and transfer it directly like one-to-one, I need to create some sort of proportion, and using that proportion I will rebuild whatever I see here on this piece of paper. Of course, before I go, I need to maybe go around the reference and see maybe some details that will help me in the future to keep with the general idea. One of those things, I can see that this wheel, the front wheel, turned slightly, which means they're not in one line, the rear wheel and the front wheel. So this one even a little bit tilted against the gate, and that one turned, so it's kind of, we need to watch this. Okay, so for me at this moment, I mean, I'm usually starting with the height. So when I establish the height, I can sort of squeeze the old composition the way I need it. But this time I will start from the width of the composition. So I will consider the composition that I need to transfer here, this kind of square, or like, let's call it boundary box. It's not starting here, it's starting there where the flowers end and the rear wheel of the bike. Of course, this is the top and this is the bottom. So if I measure distance from here to there, I need to transfer it proportionally to this big A3 size format. And since that will be my starting point, say this will be the left side of the composition, and that will be the I'm kind of limiting the width of my bike with the flowers to this dimension. You know what, I might, no, I'm happy. So this is the, that point, that is the left. Now, to measure everything, I will be using this simple piece of paper I have prepared. And why I'm trying to use, I want to measure how wide the composition is. So this is the width of our composition, and see how it relates to the height. So as we can see, the height of whole composition only slightly more than the width, and that is kind of relief to me. So this is what I'm doing. This is the actual copy width, right? It doesn't match with the picture here, it's bigger. So, but as we know, if our wheel say ends up here, this composition should take one width and a little bit more. You remember? So if we take it here, so that is the original width, and a tiny bit on the top of it for the flowers. Now I have boundary box for my future bike within this new picture. Okay, so I have to do everything to squeeze it in, so it's not supposed to go anywhere further, not higher, not wider, so it's supposed to stay there. I will always be using this little thing to, you know, manage my measurements, and you will see how it works. First, say I need to find where kind of how high is this wheel. This is my first step. So say I will measure the height of the wheel and see how many of those fit vertically. So it's slightly bigger than the half, as you can see, right? So if this is the whole composition, and the middle of it will be somewhere there, so my wheel will be higher than the middle of this composition, so it's supposed to be somewhere there. I will be just making general sketching, and then I will correct, so because I won't only create kind of placeholder for the future picture. Now what about this one? I would like to see how it relates to this one, to the front wheel, and if I measure it and see at 1 1/3 roughly, so that is probably the height of my rear wheel on my picture. So that is the height. As you can see, there is some angle as a perspective. What I can do here, and I place it like that, so I can copy this angle this way, like that. Just simply transfer it, so I can find the bottom point for the wheel, and this is this height of my wheel on the rear. So just no details, just very rough shapes. So far so good. Also, I don't want to tilt it at the moment. I just want to create all these bits and pieces. Obviously this thing's supposed to be sitting on one lane. Okay, then the whole composition with the flowers, the height of it like this, and if I try to fit it 1, 2, 3, exactly 1/3. So this is the height composition. I always trying to fit it into the height now. Or maybe just do it very simple stuff. I'll roughly notice how far is the bottom of the box from the top of the wheel, and just I will make this line. So, and definitely whatever is there is just So this is my kind of flowers. Pum pum pum. And here is the box, and the box has some. So to make it like realistic or maybe correct, I'll try to see where this line goes. If I draw it further down, it doesn't meet the wheel anywhere. So the box, and it's probably here somewhere at the moment, like this. We can see a little bit of bottom of the box. And then there is a frame, right? And that frame continues here. That was there. There's a seat, rear fork. So far so good. And the bottom of the gate kind of goes through the middle of the center of the wheel. I don't want to like create extra mess, so I will bring it down a bit so it doesn't cover, you know. So that will be my door. Also, it's kind of flush with the bike wheel there, so I might, maybe I just leave it, okay, no matter, doesn't matter. It goes all the way up and disappears somewhere there. So, and there is a bit of the wall. We have some broken stones here, and that goes up again, part of the gate. This is frame, something like that. That gives me a general idea, all proportions set, and I'm absolutely happy at the moment. And from this point I'm starting to work on details. So this bit here will be done practically all freehand when I will be painting this, and therefore I will just maybe have a general shape of all this bunch, including this like hanging foliage. So all this shape, all this is all I need to draw basically. And so there is one goes here and one there, and that is probably it. So that is my like a flower hut. Then the box. So slightly this way. I can't see whatever happens with this edge, and I need to improvise. So there is a little bit of some sort of wider panel, I believe, for the bottom of this box. So we're gonna draw it. I can see a very little of the bottom, but I reckon there is some sort of square frame with the brackets that attached to the front fork. So I need to make my wheel first, and then I will start from there. So the front wheel sits strictly vertically, or more or less, and at this point I would like to show you something related to drawing ellipses, or this is the ellipse. The first things, proportions applies to the ellipses this way. Now vertical, of course, the middle supposed to be exactly in the center of this. We make sure that this is the case. No, maybe a little bit higher, something like that, yeah. And then what happens here, if this is our measurements, we can also we can make sure that that is, so say, width, How many of those goes? Oh, exactly half. Now this is my and ooh, no, shouldn't be true. But what happens here? You see this point, and notice the distance from that edge to this center, and from this center to that edge. It's very, very different. You see? Center, boom. It means that's supposed to be somewhere here. Distance from the right, left edge of the wheel should be bigger than this distance. Let's try to make it. In other words, if I make it this way, like that, so this is what's supposed to happen. Front segment of the oval of the ellipse supposed to be always be visually bigger than the whatever it stays away from us. Okay, so since it has some sort of depth like this, we can should be slightly smaller. And then we can make that frame visible with these two arms that hold up the basket or box with these flowers. Now I'm gonna erase it because I want to spend some time on this wheel. And make it more accurate and precise. Shape of it believable. Now it's gonna be quite complex because we have two details here. We have a rim and we have a tire. So first, as you can see, any part of the rim from this point invisible, we can't see anything. So we can do tire, start with the tire like this. But then when it goes further down, it kind of, that line kind of disappear like this, and we can see only very little part of the tire like this. You can see narrow wall of the tire, same here. Instead, we start to see the rim and that how it becomes visible like this. Okay, of course I will spend some more time on this correcting, but just would like to show you a general idea of how it's supposed to be done. So now next detail is this mudguard. Since we have established the shape of our wheel already, so it will be much easier for us just to do it. It's slightly higher than the wheel itself. It sits higher. It passes the middle, and then it has some visible thickness, like this. So far so good. Now I'm gonna work with this wheel. As I said, it's not vertical, it's slightly tilted this way. So this is what we're gonna do. We kind of will create, so this is the height, that will be the axis which is tilted. The middle axis from here goes there. Also, we remember, if our wheel starting here, that distance and this distance shouldn't be equal. We need to shorten that part a bit. And then, having this things established, we can draw the initial ellipse shape for the rear wheel. I will remove all this auxiliary lines, but here we don't want to draw the mudguard first. We just draw the wheel. Same way we can see exposed tire. We're just following these lines, so we can see very little of the tire wall here. I can't even like just, and then rim exposed to us, like that. I can even shade it if I wish, so to make it more, defined. And then from here I can do the mudguard. It goes further this way, kind of sticking out a bit more, make a shadow so that it will be more visible to me. The future like this. It's the middle of the wheel, that axis there. As you notice, the axis is located under some angle to this line. Okay, so make sure you have it. And then all I need to do is just complete the frame. Like this. We've got this cog here like that, chain. No, that was too early. I will complete the frame first, make sure it gets proper now. And there is a cylinder here that accommodates the pedals and that cog. Loads of ellipses. This is the pedal, that's the other one. Okay, and the shape of the, okay, whatever happens here, we're not doing it right now, because I probably, when I will be painting this, I will use in some places masking fluid. Okay, well, in the areas where this wire parts going over the dark background, all right? But that might not be the case. We will see. I might use just white paint. Perhaps this is what we do. But then when you're gonna recreate those stuff, like you're supposed to think about construction of the bike wheel. So because those things going kind of, one goes to this bed, the second one attached to the outer part. And so it goes like that. Okay, so you need to watch it, and when you realize this, you will be able easily recreate all this appearance. You see what happens? That one goes here, next one goes to the outer part. Simple as that. So you can paint it, draw it here, but I will leave it and will do it when I will be working on my watercolor drawing. So it has to go further this way. It's a little neat. And so from now on, what I'm trying to do here is just to create visually, proper sketch for myself, because really and truly, this is the most important stuff to be transferred on watercolor paper. Whether like all these planks, any part of the door, it's not as important. Very simple to recreate. All the tags hanging from the horizontal bar. So any imperfections on the stone, on the ground, absolutely irrelevant, as the whatever happens inside the basket itself. All concentration supposed to be, directed onto proper shape of the wheels, accurate composition, accurate proportions of the bike. So I said how to do it. We just have to measure everything, and in relation to some known measurements, like calculate and check yourself many times, and only after that we can do we can say that we are kind of happy with this. Okay, so I'm gonna spend some time now clean these wheels. Basically I will be going back and forth, look at the wheel, try to recapture it, like rework it until I get a proper result, and we will see how it my sketch will work. So I think this is it. More or less happy. So my sketch looks like a sketch. As I said, I have general dimension, position, and shape for bunch of flowers. Whatever this branch is going down, uh, gates, whatever happens on the floor, part of the wall. But for the bike, I have all major points established. It looks proportional. It looks the way I wanted to do it. Wheels, well, well, as good as it gets. So, well, I'm fine. I think it's cool, right? So this is it. Then I I will use the sketch to transfer it to a watercolor paper. Usual way, as I always do it, I will um, kind of shade with the soft pencil, probably 4B, all this area, uh, essentially creating the carbon paper, then place it on the top of my watercolor paper, fix it with the uh, masking tape, then trace it, and whatever printed on the top of on the surface of the watercolor paper, I will recreate using fine pencil. Usually doing this with mechanical pencil. We will see it, and then that's it. We will be painting this. So this is it. The stage is ready. Let's go do the painting.